talk a little bit about a few different topics. There's a lot going on in the world, as we know. It's very easy to get wrapped up in the anger and frustration of everything. But what we focus on creates a future, right? So if we focus on all the negativity, the frustration in the world, we'll start creating more frustration and negativity. When you see all the stuff that's happening, to go in and heal it is one thing, but to focus on it every day is a bad thing. We tend to look at a situation and then constantly look at it and look at it and look at it and look at it. So you're bombarded with negative imagery, which is the media is also lies. So when you're constantly watching things that are either lies or negative or destructive to yourself and to people around you, you start to create that type of future. So disassociating yourself from that stuff and focus on being a good person. Maybe be aware of what is happening and send loving energy towards it. But to get lost into that, you get lost into yourself. Like, I know Abbey and myself are looking into a lot of different things, and one of the things that come up is future pasts, future lives. And was this one place we came across that all timelines were being drawn into that one point. So literally that one reality was getting information, had the ability to pull information from all other timelines. It was pretty messed up. The place was pretty messed up. But the interesting part is we had the ability to live for a very, very, very long time. And there's versions of ourselves that were 400 years old. And we're trying to figure out how to fix the timelines, make it so it actually focuses on one aspect. So it's a better timeline instead of a destructive timeline. So this is very important right now, because this time in history is where all these events start to unfold themselves to create a future. So you have the things like the truckers' protest and all the protests that have been going on ever since, that somebody's, for some reason, most people don't know about them because they're not covered. And they're not as loud as they used to be because people don't even know this is actually happening. And you got the stuff happening in Russia and Ukraine and China and other places of the world that you don't even know what's happening unless you really look into the news, and it's like a little blurb here and there. Shanghai became a little bit louder because it was getting so ridiculous over there. But these things that are happening are extremely important. And one of the things that the government's doing is preventing us from really knowing what's going on. To know what their plans are and what their agendas are. And obviously it's not just government, it's corporations, it's pharmaceutical companies, it's the scientific community. And not all scientists are you could say they're involved with this. It goes much, it's much more complex than that. The scientists that literally just are like me and you, go to work, have a job, go home, have families, trying to live a normal life. That's probably a majority. But then you get some scientists that they don't even know what they're doing. They're creating stuff that is going to enslave the human race, and they're not even aware of it. And then you get other ones that are completely aware of it and are actually doing it because they want to control the human race. They want to be part of that. And then you get into the, obviously, one thing that I'm going to state that's been bothering me a lot is I hear the word elite. We need to stop using that. because they're not elite. As soon as you start using that word, you're now saying that they're better than you are, that they deserve to be in a higher status. We need to stop using that word for representing who they are, because that in itself is creating an imbalance, and is creating a reality that they are going to be better than you because you're saying they are. We need to start calling them out for what they really are. They're people that are egomaniacs, that all they do is want to control the world and control other people because they're afraid of people. They're afraid of free thinking, free thought, because to them, without us, they're really nothing. So they need some form of population that can be controlled. When you're a free thinker, you believe in peace. Well, in most cases, not all cases, but if you're a person that wants peace, that wants the ability to be able to be free in this world, that creates a problem when you want to control and enslave the human race. So let's stop using that word, because it's not true. If anything, they're young souls that haven't really gone through the lessons to really understand what it's like to be human, what it's like to be an advanced soul. They're still young. So we shouldn't be treating them the way they are. We actually treat people that are extraordinary souls the opposite. We basically beat them down. We talk down to them. I'm not talking about me in general, but I'm just talking about, when I say we, the majority of the human race, when I state it that way. We're mistreated. We're beat down. We're ridiculed. We're called stupid. It's like you go on and on and on and on and on. Because the people that are stating this are the young souls that want to beat people down like us so they can feel better about themselves. Because all their insecurities, they're not able to, or haven't worked on them. I've worked on myself all my life, and I'm far from perfect. But I'm still a human being that's tried all his life to better himself. It's amazing the difference in how people think. People are actually convinced themselves that they're doing the right thing while they're beating somebody down. They actually believe that to the point where they wholeheartedly have 100% faith that they are correct. That's how messed up this is. So how do you deal with people that believe they're doing the right thing? And you can't convince them otherwise, because they are so stuck in their belief system that there's no way of actually saying that they're wrong. It's inconceivable to them. It's inconceivable to say that you were wrong. If you can't admit when you're wrong without feeling like you're losing something, then you might want to really, really look at yourself, because why do you feel that way? Because you're going to be wrong many times in your life. And you have to be able to accept that. You have to be able to say, okay, I'm wrong, so what? We'll do better next time. Try not to do that again. Not point your finger to 1,000 other people and basically argue to the point where you're just, it's absurd. Just so you would say that you're right. You would actually condemn people to death in order to be able not to say that you were wrong. Like, the mandates in Canada are still here. The federal employees that were laid off are still laid off. They didn't want to get that because it's now a precedent. They're going to have to be forced in order to be able to change their minds, because it's an ego thing now. It's I am wrong. How could I be ever wrong? So do you want people that can't admit that they're wrong leading us? To be able to use extreme measures in order to stay in power because they don't want to admit that they made a mistake. That maybe they didn't do the correct thing. Instead of coming out and just saying that, you know what, guys, I was following some bad advice. Going forward, this is what I'm going to do. But instead, the person would rather destroy the country in order to admit that he's wrong. Or he has an agenda, and that agenda is for, you don't even have to go into details, you know what I'm talking about. To destroy the world, to reset it in a way that enslaves the human race. That's another theory, right? Are these theories, or are they actually facts? See, that's the difference, because there's so many theories, there's so many miscommunication or misinformation, there's so much conspiracy theories out there. What is the truth and what isn't the truth? Because one person's fact is another person's conspiracy theory. So what do you do about that? It's a cluster of information, misinformation, purposely put forward to push forward an agenda. Obviously, we know that. And we know what that agenda is going to look like. So what are we going to do about it? I talk about this a lot. Because it is, as a human being, as a person that is open to admitting that they made a mistake, a person that's open to free thinking, world peace. And there's so many people out there, like, they're against electric cars, they're against a world government. The reason they're against this stuff is because the stuff is being misused. People are being misinformed. Or the agendas that are being pushed forward are stating that we want to control people by being able to shut off their vehicles so they'll be able to drive. They want to be able to control every aspect of your life. So this is the world government, but that's not the right world government. The question is, why is that something we're saying that the world government is? Why aren't we saying that world government would be opening the borders to all countries so everybody could live and work anywhere in the world at any time? That people will work together in science and medicine to better mankind. See, why aren't we saying it that way? Because we're saying that this is going to be this way, because that's what the agenda is being put forward, but that's exactly what everybody's saying it's going to be. Not everybody, but you get the idea. It's just the way I speak sometimes. So we got to be very careful what is we're actually filling our minds with and thinking about every day. Because when we think there's going to be a disaster, there will be. If enough people believe that the world will end, the world will end. If we believe we're going down a path of destruction, we will go down a path of destruction. So we have to change what it is we're doing and saying, and what we're filling our minds with. It's okay to be informed, but what you do with that information is extremely important. Do you focus on it every day, or do you simply send loving energy to heal it and fill yourself with love and say, this is not the future I want, this is the future I want. I want a future of love and happiness where everyone gets along, everybody works together. The more people that do that is when the world will truly change to a better place. And I think people need to really look at each other say, how do I feel? What do I fill my mind with every day? How do I act or react to that information? What do I do with it? How does that affect my everyday life? I seen a video where this guy was videotaping this girl. She's screaming, she's wearing a mask, he's going nuts because she flipped him the finger. And he's going on and on and on about how she flipped him the finger, and that's why she's videotaping her license plate, and she's screaming and screaming and screaming. We don't know what happened up to that point. We're just taking his word for it, right? The question is, so what if she gave you the finger? The question is, why did you chase her down, and why are you videotaping her? That's what we should be saying. Because that's creepy as hell. So if somebody gives you the finger, you're going to chase them down, and then some girl, and freak her out and scare the living shit out of her, get into your car and start videotaping her and start going on about it, videotaping her license plate and everything else? We know it could be completely fake and set up, but why aren't we, like, this is the type of thinking we need to do, because we need to look at everything as it is, because that guy's creepier than she is. She's freaking out, yes. She might be mentally insane. We don't know. We don't know if this guy's stalking her for last month. We have no idea about anything. But we just look at a video and assume that that's the way it is, and the person's perfectly fine. We might not even think about what that video was about and why it was even done in the first place, and maybe that's inappropriate. TikTok could be good, but it's actually mostly negative, because it fills your mind with very quick information. The question is, how much information you're going to put in your mind that's super, super, super fast. But half the time you don't even get the full information, you're only getting part of it. And then you're getting one-sided information that you don't even know if it's true, if it's fake, if it's real. And you just flip through things like that could be extremely important without even realizing it. And then focusing on things that are completely stupid. It's like, and then you force-fed that information over and over again, because it learns what you stop and listen to and what you don't. So now you're filling your head full of exactly what it is that you're interested in, except what you're interested in might not be the truth. It's a very, very dangerous platform. It can be very lighthearted, but you look at a child, for instance, kids that do it, flip, 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 flip. So they're feeling more and more and more and more. This is going into their own minds, and they're literally can get brainwashed into doing that all day long, and that's all their life exists, is just flipping through one video after another, after another, after another, and bombard their minds with a specific type of information. So what happens now in the future? People get control over that, which they're pushing for, and they're most likely going to get it, because that's the direction that seems that things are going in. It's really hard to be able to curve that, because there's not enough people that want to curve it. People are tired, people are frustrated, people are worn out. Now they're able to tell you exactly what it is, what focus on everything to what exactly they want to feed you, what information they want to put in your mind. That's when it's so, so important to be able to not fill your head with unnecessary things that are not important. We need to stop focusing on the things that make us think in the wrong way. And Anyway, guys, I'm just rambling on at this point. So, thanks for listening to me this morning. Have a wonderful day.